First pitch is by third. Reds win. Hayes hammers it down the line. Friedel scores. And they break the Brewers' longest ever in-season winning streak. It dies at 14.
From MLB.com, this is the Morning Lineup Podcast. I'm your host, Will Leach. Today is Monday, August 18th, and you are never going to believe this, but the Brewers lost. I know, I didn't think there was allowed anymore either. I'm going to tell you all about that and everything else you need to know about baseball, and I'm going to do it in under 10 minutes. I would like to make a formal request that you allow me to begin. Thank you. I am blessed by your graciousness, my liege. It was perfectly reasonable if you thought, coming into Sunday, that the Brewers were simply never going to lose another baseball game. They had won a franchise record 14 consecutive games after, by the way, putting together an 11-game win streak just last month, and 8 of those 14 were comeback wins, including 2 wild wins this weekend. On Friday, they were down 8-1 after 2 innings, and on Saturday, they were down a run heading into the 9th before tying it and then taking the lead with a 3-run homer from Andrew Monasterio in the 11th. Yep, they won both games. On Sunday, it looked like they were going to do it again. Down 1 in the top of the 9th with the runner on, William Contreras came up and did this.
Fly ball, deep left center field, it is gone! Come on! William Contreras, a 2-run bomb, and the Brewers have the lead.
That is absurd and insane and ridiculous, and definitely the sort of thing a team that was never going to lose another baseball game would do. But then, in the bottom of the 10th, after the Brewers failed to score in the top half, Austin Hayes singled past the drawn-in infield with the bases loaded, and the Reds had done the impossible. They had defeated the mighty Brewers. Everything's, of course, still fine for the Brewers. They still have the best record in baseball. They still have won 29 of their last 34 games, and they're still having more fun than is typically legal in the state of Wisconsin. And you know what? They're probably going to rattle off like 16 in a row next month now anyway.
Here comes the 3-2. Got him swinging. That's a sweep for LA. The biggest series of the year. And the Dodgers deliver.
Oh boy, were the Padres ever feeling good about themselves heading into this weekend. 8.5 games out of first place on July 1st, the Padres had fought all the way back into first place themselves, a game up on the hated Dodgers after the most aggressive trade deadline in recent memory, just in time to face their hated rivals at Dodger Stadium for a 3-game set. But then they lost a tough one on Friday, 3-2, played miserably in a 6-0 loss to their former Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell on Saturday, and then fell behind 4-0 in the first inning on Sunday. But the Padres kept chipping away, eventually tying the game in the top of the 8th. But then they brought in closer Robert Suarez, who hadn't pitched all series, faced Mookie Betts, who hadn't had a hit all series, and as we know, is having the worst year of his career. But he is still, in fact, Mookie Betts, and he still knows how to rise to the moment.
Mookie hits a high fly ball, left field and deep. This ball is gone! Mookie has his moment and gives the Dodgers the lead.
Betts' homer, his 13th of the season, gave the Dodgers a 5-4 lead they would not relinquish. It was the first time the Padres have been swept since mid-May at the exact moment they very much did not want to get swept. The Dodgers now have a 2-game lead in the NL West, and perhaps just as important, they have their "you're our little brother and we're better than you" swagger back over the Padres. The good news for the Padres is that they're going to get another chance against the Dodgers in San Diego this weekend. Or maybe that's the bad news. After the break, the Mariners and the Mets got to hang out with a bunch of kids on Sunday night. Children of the future!
Were you nervous sliding down the hill today?
I was a little bit nervous, I gotta say. I was a little bit nervous, obviously. But I did it, I definitely had some good guidance over there. I was able to do it.
The Little League Classic, it's so charming that you forget sometimes it's a game that actually counts. What was your favorite part from Sunday? Was it when Julio Rodriguez and Juan Soto were goofing off about Soto only pretending to run on him? Was it the KidCast reporters? I enjoyed them. Was it when Randy Arozarena used the pencil bat? I love the pencil bats. All bats should be pencil bats. But for all the charms of the Little League Classic, it did involve 2 teams who are trying to make the World Series, one of whom, the Mets, has had all sorts of drama going on lately. Mets fans can chill a little bit now, though, after the Mets beat the Mariners in Williamsport 7-3. Winning the series is hanging on to the one-game lead in the NL wildcard race. Mark Vientos hit a 3-run homer, Francisco Lindor had 3 hits and smiled a lot, and the Mets didn't blow a single lead, not even one. Heck, Ryan Helsley threw a scoreless inning to get Mets fans off his back, at least for a night. They were just good vibes all around. Cal Raleigh hit his 47th homer, which puts him just one behind Salvador Perez's 2021 record for most home runs by a primary catcher. Happy kids from all across the planet, pencil bats, and a big dumper Oppo taco. Sounds like a pretty good night at the ballpark to me. Quietly, the biggest news of the weekend might have been the Phillies putting Zach Wheeler on the injured list with a blood clot. It is quite possible Wheeler is not going to return this season. Potentially devastating news for a veteran team that is trying to win the World Series as badly as the Phillies are. Phils will find out more about Wheeler this week, but definitely a huge bummer. At least they now have Alec Bohm and Aaron Nola back. They both returned from the injured list against the Nationals on Sunday, and one of them had a much better day than the other one did. Bohm homered in his second at-bat and went 2 for 4, but Nola, in his first game in 3 months, got drilled for 6 runs in 2 1/3 innings. The Phillies still won 11-9, but I don't know, without Wheeler and with Nola struggling, that rotation's starting to look a little wobbly. We had a full slate of games on Sunday, as always, so we got a lot to get through. Let's sprint through the games I've not mentioned to you yet in the whip around. The Yankees were reeling last Sunday, but they got just what the doctor ordered this week. 3 games against the Twins, whom they always destroy, and 3 games with the rapidly plummeting to the center of the earth Cardinals. The Yankees won all 3 of them at Busch Stadium this week, including an 8-4 win on Sunday. Paul Goldschmidt had 3 hits in his first game at Busch since leaving the team in the offseason.
Swinging a high fly ball right field, driving back Myers. Back all the way to the bullpen, and trying to make the catch. And the ball goes over the fence. The ball is gone.
The Red Sox came into the top of the 9th inning with a 3-2 lead and a chance to sweep the Marlins. But then Dane Myers, who had let a fly ball bounce off his glove and go over the wall earlier in the game, homered to tie it, and Jacob Marcy hit a 2-run homer to give the Marlins a 5-3 victory. Also, the Red Sox announced that Marcelo Meyer will have surgery on his right wrist and will miss the rest of the year. Ugh. The Cubs have to play 5 games the next 4 days against the Brewers, but hey, it turns out the Brewers may be mortal. The Cubs will come into that series with a 2-game win streak after beating the Pirates 4-3 on Sunday, but honestly, it doesn't quite look like they've fixed their offense quite yet.
That ball ripped to right center field. Samuel Basallo's first major league hit is a 2-run single.
Number 8 overall prospect Samuel Basallo got called up to the bigs on Sunday, and his first big league hit came in the 8th inning, scoring 2 runs, but the Orioles didn't really need either one of them. They smoked the Astros 12-0. The White Sox's Davis Martin took a no-hitter into the 6th inning, but the thing about baseball is that they play 9 innings. The Royals scored 6 runs in the next 2 innings and beat the White Sox 6-2. Ronald Acuna Jr. came back for the Braves this weekend, but honestly didn't really do that much. Give him some time. Geez, he was hurt. The Braves beat the once again reeling Guardians 5-4 to sweep the series and extend their win streak to 5 games. A little late now, though. Marcus Semien went 3 for 4 with a homer as the Rangers salvaged the 3rd game of their series against the Blue Jays with a 10-4 win. The Rockies have now won 3 in a row and went 5-2 on the week with a 6-5 win over the Diamondbacks. The Giants came into Sunday with a 7-game losing streak in which they had been outscored 41-12. Their 7-1 win over the Rays, thanks to Logan Webb's 7 scoreless innings, won't make up for those 7 losses, but it does help to turn that frown upside down. At least a little. The Tigers looked back on track for most of the weekend, taking a 4-game win streak into Sunday, so don't be too discouraged by their 8-1 loss to the Twins. They're still back to 8.5 games up in the AL Central. And to close, it might look like the Angels blew out the A's 11-5 in West Sacramento, but they actually scored 6 runs in the top of the 10th. And that's all for today's podcast. Thank you for listening. Please be sure to give us a rating and review and tell everyone you know about this podcast.